what is important with stormwater treatment? Where does hygienic design come in? Why is it important from a business perspective? So all those topics will be addressed today, hopefully. So without further ado, Karel, welcome here. Thank you for doing this. And please start your presentation and we'll see each other in the Q&A.
Thank you very much. It's pretty exciting to be here with you. Why is important to care for stormwater? Actually, I would like to start with the, let's say, the first part, which is about the Sustainable Development Goals. I think many of you probably are aware of it. So just briefly, those are the points which were targeted by or adopted by all United Nations members in 2015, creating, let's say, 17 points, which you can see here in this slide. And it was created with the aim of peace, prosperity for people and the planet. There is different type of pollution. In case of the non-metal roof, then we speak about usually low, moderate. Usually typical pollutants are organic debris, leaves, bird droppings, and those things, dust and mineral chemical residues from the roof material. So this is pretty easy to use. In case of the roads and parking, it is usually a bit more polluted. We speak mainly about the source of the pollution, that are the cars, and the last, which I would like to mention, are logistics. The source, I would say, for example, the cars or vehicles are similar, but the logistics, I would like to point out, mainly because logistics is usually really heavily polluted zone, typically with the heavy metals. Abrasion for the tires, brakes, contains a lot of heavy metals, I have to point out, and hydrocarbons and those things, sediments, litter, etc. So this is usually heavily polluted part. Okay, so where the water could be used in that case? In most of the premises, in past mainly, but might be also nowadays, it goes to the combined sewer system, which is definitely I would say the worst case scenario, because then it means that the company has to also pay for it. It is the water which is, let's say, from the used water from the factory, which goes to the sewage, but then also the surrounding, then it's the calculation of the stormwater which goes into the sewage. From the different areas, we would need different treatment systems. So I already mentioned the roof. I already also mentioned the logistics area. In that case, they would be needed to focus on different parts, and also it will be important to really investigate what is the amount of water we can harvest.
What would you say, Daniel, from a business perspective? Is there kind of a formula that you can use based on the square meters and say, like, okay, if we invest in such a system, because there is an initial investment, we will be able to have a certain return of investment window? That would be helpful, I think, for people to make these decisions.
Yeah, it's a very good question, something we come across quite often when we speak with our clients. I think we need to look at it from the perspective of risk management a little bit. If we consider the areas around the world, when we consider risk management, either we're talking about too much water or we're talking about not enough water. When I meet with our clients and discuss this topic, they are very aware that they need to comply with the regulations. So either it's a legislative question or it's a commercial question. I wouldn't say that there's an easy formula to say 1 + 1 = 2, but there needs to be a risk-benefit analysis done. Many of these companies look to the environment on the inside to protect their brand, their goods, and their reputations. But as a side benefit, to be able to cater to a corporate social responsibility or an environmental responsibility, they definitely conduct these calculations. So it depends at what level of recycling and reuse you would like to achieve. The benefit of the ACO system is that it's in actual fact fairly simple mechanically. There's not millions of euros, depending on the size of course, but millions of euros being invested into it for a system to be functional up to a certain level. If you would like to talk about reverse osmosis or using membranes for recycling water, for potable water, then of course that investment is much higher. So to answer your question, it depends on which country and which environment you're talking about. But I think that this is being driven much more by local legislation, and that should be the driver, because at the end of the day, there can be incentives for companies to do so, also because of the fact that these local legislations are in place.
Okay, so basically you're suggesting that people start by looking into their local legislation. I mean, ACO is a very
standard. Yes.
ACO is a very big international company, so you might also maybe be able to assist people in that.
Support, absolutely.
Okay. Yes. What I noticed during your presentation, and I think many of the attendees also, was that suddenly we become aware of the size of our roof and the parking lot, basically. Those are the two places where the water is collected, right? Now, what if you are in an inner city situation where you don't have a big parking lot, but you have a roof? I can imagine that storing the stormwater on top of the roof instead of downstairs would also save some money in energy costs, because you don't have to pump it up again. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, this is a very good example. Especially in some cases, you can combine some kind of roof storage system. So it's usually called like blue roof system, where you have the retention, which is basically on the rooftop. Then it depends. If you build a new production, it is always good to, I would say, assess what would be the benefit to create such on the roof, because it also has some kind of let's say weight. So then you need the complete construction of the building needs to be prepared. Yes. You have some kind of retrofit. This needs to be considered, but definitely it has the benefit that you store it on the roof. Disadvantage from my perspective could be that it's a little bit harder to keep lower temperature, because especially in case of the bacteria, it's better always to store water with a lower temperature, which is benefit of the let's say below ground. At least you have some kind of parking, you can install some kind of retention systems below ground, then has the benefit. As you said, on the other hand, the roof storage has the benefit that you don't need too much, for example, pumping, etc. So it could be easily installed.
Maybe just a quick comment to that. The difference between a commercial or residential environment or an industrial environment is very important to distinguish here. In an industrial environment, if you're talking about big food and beverage manufacturing halls, just to be 100% clear, a roof retention system is definitely not recommended from a hygiene perspective. If we talk about green or blue roofs, the potential for ingression through the roof into the production environment is an extremely high risk. And there are experts, we work with water, of course. Our slogan is "We care for water," and as an ambition, we work towards a potentially completely closed loop system. Nevertheless, if we talk about retention on top of roofs, we're talking mainly about commercial or residential environments within the inner city.
Gentlemen, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nantes in October, and I wish you very much success with innovating further for the benefit of the planet and our wallets. So thank you very much for your contribution today.
Thank you very much, Rob. I really appreciate it. Everybody who was in attendance and everybody in the background who helped us prepare, thank you to you as well, and we look forward to the Congress in Nantes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.